All right, everyone, and welcome back to They Said What? This is the show where we take the loudest ideas floating around in sports, culture, business, entertainment, and everyday conversation, and we slow them down just long enough to ask the basic question. Does that even make any sense? Today, one of my pet peeves, a word, a phrase, an acronym, G.O.A.T, or greatest of all time. Now, once upon a time, that phrase meant something. It felt like the kind of title you gave someone who had truly separated themselves from everybody else over a full career, under pressure, and across time. But now, everybody is the GOAT. One hot month, one viral album, one big playoff run, one loud fan base. Everybody's the GOAT. So at this point, the term, for me anyway, is so overused it barely identifies greatness anymore. It just tells you who people are excited about right now, in the moment. That's how we think. That's how we see things. That's how we are living. So today's questions are simply this. Why does GOAT sound so empty now? Why is society obsessed with labeling absolutely everything? Are we actually identifying greatness or just marketing excitement? And do we really need to rank and package everything we enjoy? So why does the term feel so overused? Well, for me, because it stopped being a serious conclusion and just became an actual casual reaction. And that's the problem. GOAT, for all of its uses, used to sound like the end of a long argument. Now it sounds like the beginning of a social media post. It used to mean this person has built a body of work so overwhelming that history has to make room for it. It now means I like this person a whole lot. Golly gee. And those are just not the same. So what got lost in translation? Standards, which always get lost. Discipline, perspective, patience. People can't just say this person is excellent. That was a special run. That might be the best we've seen in a while, or the best I've seen in a while. No, everything has to be the biggest possible thing ever. Why? Because we live in a culture that rewards exaggeration. Very good don't trend. One of the best doesn't go viral. Greatest of all time gets all the attention, all the arguments, all the reposts, and emotional reactions. So the phrase just got hijacked by hype. Has GOAT become more of a marketing term than a real standard? Of course. Well, at least in many cases, because modern culture loves packaging everything. We want to put everything in a neat package so we can, put it away somewhere or hand it off. We love shortcuts. We love labels that people can consume without thinking about it too hard. GOAT is that perfect thing. It's short, loud, absolute, dramatic in many instances, and it instantly turns admiration into competition. That's why the media loves it. That's why fans love it. That's why brands love it. It's less about accurately describing greatness and more about amplifying attention. So where does it stop? Is it just about sports? Is it bigger than sports? Well, of course it is. It's way bigger. This is sports, music, movies, business, fashion, social media, influencers. It's everything. Everything now gets treated like a ranking show. We don't know how to just enjoy a performance anymore. We just got to rank it. We don't just admire a wonderful creator of something. We force them into an all-time list. We can't help ourselves. We do not just witness a moment. We may witness it, but we immediately ask where it stands historically. We can't help ourselves. That's not always insight. Sometimes it's just entertainment culture overreaching. So the question now becomes, why do people feel the need to label absolutely everything they see? Because it's easier. It simplifies complexity. It creates certainty in certain people's minds. It helps people defend their own tastes. They turn messy, nuanced conversation into clean talking points. Labels are effectively efficient. They are also totally lazy. I mean, instead of just asking what makes a person unique, what type of greatness, which is subjective, are we actually watching? Is this peak, longevity, influence, skill, or is it actually impact? People skip and jump straight across all of that to their favorite word, GOAT. That shortcut kills nuance. It flattens everything because not all greatness is the same, y'all. Some people are highly skilled, extremely influential, accomplished, dominant, historically original, and culturally important. Those are the different categories, different strengths, different stories, but culture does not like categories that require true thought. It likes labels that fit on a t-shirt, a caption, or a debate clip that can be bought, paid for, and sold. Now, is there really such a thing as the greatest of all time? To me, no. But I have to evaluate everything, so I have to say sometimes. But it's not nearly as often as people want to pretend. Some fields are just too subjective. Some eras are just too different. Some forms of greatness are too difficult to compare objectively. And this is where people get uncomfortable because people want, what do people want? They want one final answer. They want to crown somebody. They want to put somebody on top of that mountain. They want one simple conclusion. But greatness is often more complicated than all of that. The question is, why is it so hard to identify one true GOAT? Well, for me, it doesn't really exist. I mean, time is infinite. And how can you put somebody as great of all time when time doesn't stop? But anyway, that's really existential. The answer is because everybody is measuring something just totally different. Some people care about performance, longevity, championships, how many, records, how many were broken, consistency, skill, artistry, innovation, and once again, cultural impact. So when people argue over who the GOAT is, they're just not debating facts. They're debating values, their own values. What values are important to them? They are telling you what they respect the most. What they respect the most. And once you understand that, a lot of these GOAT conversations and debates start to sound less like truth and more like preference, wearing a royal crown. So if GOAT is overused, what, in fact, should we replace it with? Well, that's going to be subjective again, but here we go. We should just actually say what we mean. Say what you mean. And that will clean up a lot of this nonsense quick, fast, and in a hurry. Instead of calling absolutely everything the greatest of all time. How about this? All time great. Doesn't mean you're the greatest. Top in their era. Influential, highly influential, extremely skilled, accomplished, dominant, cultural icon, generational talent, and my personal favorite. Now you're actually saying something. So why is that better? Because it creates clarity. It tells people what type of greatness you are actually talking about instead of throwing out one gigantic label and pretending that it explains absolutely everything. And honestly, one of the best phrases people should use more is personal favorite. Just get it over with, because everything is my opinion. It's my observation. It's my personal favorites. That phrase is honest, because a lot of people do not actually mean GOAT. They mean this person moved me. This person represents my area. This person is who I connect with. This is my top choice. And that's fine. But personal loyalty and historical greatness are not automatically the same thing. And the real question becomes, does everything need to be labeled and categorized for consumption? Some say yes, I say no. And this may be the biggest point of the whole episode. Not everything needs a label. Not everything needs to be on a list. Not everything needs a shiny crown sitting on top of their head. Not everything needs to be turned into an actual debate. Some things should simply be appreciated for what they are. We don't have to put everything somewhere, but we can't help it today. We go out and we see something, or we buy something online. No matter how we consume it, no matter how we use it, at the end of it all, we put it somewhere. We either categorize it or we rank it. We can't help ourselves. That's how we live. But these things have to be talked about. We have to discuss them. But some things should just be allowed to exist as excellent in our own eyes without immediately being dragged into an all-time argument. So, what gets lost when we rank everything? Wonder, the wonderment of it, its nuance, specificity, its context, and sometimes, for crying out loud, joy. Because the moment you force everything into a ranking, you stop experiencing it to its fullest capacity. You stop asking what makes it meaningful to me. You stop asking what makes it powerful in my life. And you stop asking it what connects it to me. Why am I connected to it? You just ask, where does it rank and where can I put it? That question, frankly, is not always wrong, but it is often smaller than the moment itself. So in closing, why does GOAT feel so overused? Because it has gone from a rare title to a common reaction, from a serious distinction to an attention-grabbing label, from something that was supposed to identify true separation to something that now is used for hype, preference, branding, and emotional overstatement. So the real lesson here is that society has become addicted to labeling things faster than it has the opportunity to understand them. We rush to rank. We rush to crown. We want to categorize. And in doing so, we often cheapen that very greatness we claim to respect. So, ultimately, maybe the question is not so much who is the GOAT. Maybe the better question is, what exactly makes this person great in my eyes? That's the smarter conversation. That is more honest conversation. And frankly, that is more entertaining conversation as well. Because not everything needs a crown. Sometimes it's just enough to recognize that what you are witnessing is rare, powerful, and truly worth appreciating without turning it into another empty label. So that's going to be it for us today. Hopefully this gave you some perspective on the phrase or the acronym GOAT because it's getting lost. And frankly, to my way of thinking, there's no such thing. It's just something that we are talking about because we're doing so many things today in society that has a bottom and a top. And we always want to put someone at these various levels. And that phrase just doesn't match. Is something the greatest of all times. Think about it. And I hope you join me next time on They Said What?